Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aisha and you're watching Samaa News. Here are today's headlines. USN and Iranian officials have said that they had reached an agreement to end their war and reopen the Strait of Hormuz. US President Donald Trump wrote on his Truth Social platform, "The deal with Iran is now complete." The memorandum of understanding is scheduled to be officially signed on Friday in Switzerland. The precise terms were not immediately known. In a statement, Iran's Supreme National Security Council said war and military operations on all fronts, including Lebanon, would end permanently starting on Monday night.
Meanwhile, President Donald Trump said that the agreement with Iran has already been signed and that its text will be released after a formal ceremony in Geneva on Friday. Speaking alongside French President Emmanuel Macron ahead of this week's G7 meeting in France, Trump said he did not know if he would attend ceremony in Geneva, but that Vice President J.D. Vance would be there. President Donald Trump has said that oil tankers are beginning to move out of the Strait of Hormuz. In a social media post, Trump said many ships loaded with oil are using what he called a safe southern route, adding that traffic through the vital waterway is starting to resume. Pakistan will be hosting the signing of a US-Iran memorandum of understanding in Geneva on June 19th. Welcoming the agreement, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif called it a victory for peace, dialogue and diplomacy. Addressing Parliament, he said the deal marked the end of war and thanked leaders in Washington and Tehran for their role in the peace process. Meanwhile, Qatar, the European Union and Egypt also welcomed the deal as a step toward peace and the restoration of navigation through the Strait of Hormuz.
Iranian media has released details of a proposed memorandum of understanding between Iran and the United States. According to Iranian media, the reported 14-point draft provides for the release of $24 billion in frozen Iranian assets during a 60-day negotiation period. The reported memorandum proposes that the Strait of Hormuz will be opened on Friday after the agreement is signed, while the US naval blockade would also be completely lifted within the same period. According to the report, Washington would withdraw forces from around Iran and allow traffic through the Strait of Hormuz to resume under Iranian supervision.
However, US Vice President J.D. Vance has said that the text of the US-Iran agreement to end the war and reopen the Strait of Hormuz will be released this week. In an interview, Vance said the deal could reshape relations between Washington and Tehran, with further talks planned on Iran's nuclear program and sanctions relief. Meanwhile, Iran has said that it will charge ships for maritime services in the Strait of Hormuz instead of imposing transit tolls. The clarification came as US Vice President J.D. Vance said Washington expects the vital shipping lane to remain open to toll-free passage under a new US-Iran agreement. Also, Iran's Foreign Ministry spokesperson Esmail Baghai has said that ending the conflict in Lebanon is a key part of its agreement with the United States. Speaking during the weekly news conference, he said the draft deal calls for an end to fighting on all fronts and stresses Lebanon's sovereignty ahead of a planned signing in Switzerland this week.
4 people have been killed, while the Kyiv-Pechersk Lavra monastery, a symbol of Ukrainian spiritual and cultural history, has caught fire in the heaviest Russian air attack on the Ukrainian capital in 2 weeks. Timur Tkachenko, the head of the capital's military administration, said the central Kyiv-Pechersk Lavra monastery, a UNESCO World Heritage Site founded in 1051, was seriously damaged in a direct attack. As towering flames rose over the monastery, residents took shelter underground in the worst Russian attack on Ukraine since early June. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has said he will ban social media sites for under 16s and impose restrictions on gaming and live streaming platforms in a fight back against big tech that goes further than any other country. Starmer said the sweeping changes will give kids their childhood back, outlining measures against platforms including Snapchat, TikTok and Instagram, as well as gaming sites that allow strangers to communicate with children. He told a press conference, "It is clear that a full ban is the right choice." Oil prices have slipped to their lowest since March, after US President Donald Trump and Iran's deputy foreign minister said they had reached an initial deal to end the war and to resume traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. Brent crude futures have fallen $4.08, or 4.7%, to $83.25 a barrel, and US West Texas Intermediate was at $80.53, down $4.35, or 5.1%. Both contracts fell to their lowest levels since March 10th on Monday, after tumbling more than 3% on Friday.
And the Holy Kaaba in Makkah has been draped in a new kiswa to mark the start of the Islamic New Year. The black silk covering, embroidered with Quranic inscriptions, was installed in a traditional ceremony at Islam's holiest site, where millions of pilgrims gather each year for Hajj.
That's all for now. For more updates, visit www.samaa.tv. Thank you for watching Samaa News.